let's get things started. Hey guys, Hattopy here. So for as much as I said that I like Mega Man games, there was actually a long period of time in between times when I played Megaman.exe way back in the day for the very first time, and the next Mega Man game just in general way later after that. It was around my birthday of 2003 when my parents decided to take me out to Walmart to go pick out a game for my present. My eyes were scanning those shelves trying to see what was there. My eyes landed upon this, Mega Man Battle Network 3, for a couple reasons. One was because, well, the box art looked really cool. The design of Mega Man looked awesome, and it's something that I'll bring up a little bit later on as well. But anyway, the second reason was because, well, the name of Mega Man actually rung nostalgic bells in my head. I was just like, oh yeah, I do like this series. At least I thought I did. I wasn't quite sure what to expect when going into this, and it certainly wasn't what I ended up getting. Now, why the white version? Well, no real reason, to be honest, and as we're going to soon find out later on, it really didn't make much of a difference, at least for this game. Now, for the sake of being able to record this game, I bought Mega Man Battle Network 3 on the Wii Virtual Console, and, well, for the sake of reviewing purposes, I decided to buy the blue version on here, being the opposite of what I actually owned when I was younger. Something that I'm going to apply when I do my future Battle Network games that I'm going to be talking about. So it's just something to note. I'm going to be comparing the two versions to an extent. But regardless, let's dive right in and take a look at this, shall we? This is going to be Mega Man Battle Network 3. So the Mega Man Battle Network games star you as Lan Hikari and his NetNavi, Megaman.exe, living in AC/DC Town. Glad to see they kept the music references in some regard. In this alternate continuity to the regular Mega Man titles, instead of scientists focusing on the development of robots, they focus on the improvement of the internet and its integration into our everyday lives, with development of special commercial AI programs for the general public called NetNavis for the public to utilize in navigating the net. It's been a while since Lan and Mega Man had first defeated this continuity's Dr. Wily and his organization World 3. And a couple months since the net mafia group known as Gospel was stopped from trying to take over the world. Now, Lan just tries to live his life as a normal kid, battling Navis and hanging out with his friends. However, with absolutely no sense of foreboding, Wily resurfaces with World 3 and sets its sights on special items called Tetracodes for his next dastardly scheme. Yeah, I kind of glossed over the plot of this story, and that's kind of because it's just there, you know what I mean? It's alongside the subplots as well. It just sort of exists within the story, and if anything, more or less it plays out kind of like how a Saturday morning cartoon would handle its plots. Oh, there's the episode where the kids sneak into the school at night, and the episode where Lan's friend Melu gets trapped in explosive bubbles from a new dishwasher, and the Navi that caused it even pulls the old look over there trick on Mega Man. And hey, look, there's even a tournament arc as well. Those aside, the main plot just kind of happens in the background with hardly any mention other than in brief intermission sequences and little dabs throughout the main story. Now, I know it's a spin-off game trying to adapt from a main game that doesn't really have much of a story to begin with, but it still can be done. Just look at the Paper Mario series. It's like, those games are fantastic. It has some really smart writing and a clever world designs, all that stuff. It does it really well. And Battle Network 3, at least, not so much. At least not in every component. Characters, at least, to me, aren't that good. They're really mostly just a lot of cliche archetypes that you would see in a lot of different animes. Dex is the dumb but bulky dude. Melu is the ship bait. Yai is rich. Chad is the loner type. And that's fine, though each character's Navis are pretty much identical copies of their human counterpart. The series keeps talking about how Navis are everyone's identical counterpart. Gutsman, Glide, Roll, and Protoman, for that kind of example. They're all exactly the same, save for maybe Lan and Megaman, with Lan being a bit of a slacker and Megaman the more responsible one, but they both have a strong sense of justice and a willingness to help others that you can't help but feel they're kind of like the same person, which is kind of true if you really dive deep into the lore, but I just wish that some of the other Navis had more unique personalities compared to their operators. But the world in Battle Network 3 is actually kind of interesting if you think about it, and let's get real here for a quick second. Like, the parallels between Battle Network 3 and our own world is actually pretty close. Like, we are all connected to the internet. We live and breathe off of the whole thing. Simple appliances and even cars have access to Wi-Fi and general internet access in all regards. Siri is basically just a NetNavi minus the customizable body and a more streamlined AI. It's kind of neat to think about it like that. And while it's not like perfectly set, and especially with how Battle Network 3 kind of still insists on existing in that 20XX thing, we can't exactly pinpoint how precise we can be. But it's nice to know how close our own society has come to something within a video game that even back in 2003, all that technology in there seemed so mind-boggling, and yet we're like right next to it even now. Overall, though, if you don't mind that sort of simple Saturday morning cartoon mentality, you might get a kick out of the story and or world. Regardless, back to the game. Graphically, the game looks alright, though I've never been a fan of the diagonal isometric look. Makes controlling Lan and Megaman a little wonky. Less so for Megaman. But the character models for the Navis, at least, are something else. I really like these designs. Everyone has this clean, streamlined look with some nice accents to complement how they look. And even with the usage of repeating character models for the Navis in this game here, at least it makes sense, since those kinds of repetitive Navis are what this world would consider like a commercial stylized Navi. So it makes sense. That same praise can't be said for the humans as much. Lan, Chod, Melu, and Lan's parents I don't have much of an issue with, but there are so many repeating character models, and some of the artistic choices done on some of their portraits are weird. Where are her eyes? Where's his nose? Ah, my eyes! That forehead, it's so bright, I can't see. And the music is just alright. Little jingles here and there. The theme that plays whenever something bad is happening is almost good, but it's only on like a 10-second loop, so it gets old fast. So you control Lan in the real world, skating around, talking to people, and finding hidden items. There isn't much to do in the real world, but if you are feeling brave enough to do the game on your own, make sure you interact with everything. This game is one of those games where objectives are a little obscure, maybe not so much the objective itself, but if getting from point A to B is the thing you need to do, it's everything in between those points that's kind of annoying to figure out. Personally, I had no shame in making this the kind of game to play with a guide. Ooh, the lotto machine. Nice. Don't judge me. Woohoo! It's so much fun! But really, Lan is only a smidgen of what you'll be partaking in this game. When you find an object that's connected to the internet, Lan can jack in Megaman to explore around in the World Wide Web for the large bulk of the game. Running around with Megaman is the same as Lan, except that you can come across these different colored gems called mystery data. Green ones continuously generate each time you go into the net and can contain money, battle chips, or in later areas can have surprise battle encounters. Blue ones only appear once, and there's usually one for each area, and usually contain stuff that is helpful for Mega Man. Rare chips, programs for the Navi customizer, or even increasing Mega Man's health. Something that you can also buy from merchants scattered all throughout the net. Purple ones also only appear once, and have usually the biggest rewards, but require an unlocker subchip to get into it. Subchips come in a variety of flavors, like the Unlocker, Mini and Full Energy to refill health, and Sneak Run to lower encounter rates. Quick tip, if you come across any point to jack in with Lan, make sure you do so and give the space a quick sweep. As I said, each place has at least one blue mystery data, and can be instrumental to succeeding in the game. But speaking of random encounters, those will pop up as well, with Mega Man and his opponents being placed on a 3x6 grid, usually with each side occupying 9 spaces each. At the start of the fights, the custom screen is brought up displaying 5 random chips that you can send to Mega Man. Picking the chips is kind of a game in of itself since there are rules behind them. You can only send one chip at a time unless you pick multiple chips of the same type, or pick ones that have the same letter, with the star being a wildcard type chip. If you can load in a series of certain chips, however, you can create what's called a program advance, combining the chips to create a super powerful attack. If you can, it helps to set up at least 1 or 2 in your set. Easy ones being Z Cannon using cannons A, B, and C, or Life Sword using sword, wide sword, and long sword in that order. Loading out your folder is a neat micromanage in of itself. Chips range from elemental cannons, chips that affect terrain, recovery chips, or even chips that do attacks based upon navis you've encountered. And these can lead to a variety of different playstyles depending on what you've had set, which is always something that I like. Anyways, you pick your chips and send them to Mega Man where the battle begins. You move Mega Man around trying to line up the spots to use the chips appropriately and to dodge enemy attacks. That's kind of neat too, isn't it? If you can get really good at the game, you could theoretically take no damage throughout the entire game. It would be incredibly difficult, impossible almost in some cases, but it is certainly a claim this game could make. So when you use the chips you have equipped, you'll have to wait until the custom gauge refills before going back in to load more. But that doesn't mean Mega Man is left helpless. He still has his trusty Mega Buster on hand, and by trusty, I certainly don't mean when you first start the game. Ooh boy. 1 point of damage per shot, or 10 for a charged shot that feels like it takes forever to do so. Oof. But it is there for backup, and it can get someone improved by 2 different methods. Firstly is the Navi Customizer, a further method of augmenting Mega Man to how you want to play. In this screen, you can load programs into the deck to boost Mega Man's abilities under a few stipulations. 2 programs of the same color can't touch. Only colors that are on the top line can be loaded. Solid programs have to be on the command line, and blocked ones have to be off it. See how I explained this, and even how chips work? Way better than how the game does it. This game and each incarnation that I've played feel the need to explain how these work each time I play, which is fine, but it takes so long to get through. Ugh. A simple, would you like to do the tutorial, yes or no, would have been nice, instead of taking what feels like 10 minutes of my life to explain what can be summed up in a couple sentences. The other thing that helps out Mega Man is styles. At a certain point in the game, depending on how you've played, Mega Man can change into one of a variety of forms with a random element attached to it. Each style carries with it a unique passive skill that Mega Man can utilize, like having more chips come up in the custom screen or an improved Mega Buster, with the element allowing for a unique charged attack, usually a slightly weaker version of a pre-existing chip. These elements, though, do give Mega Man a new weakness to certain elements, so you'll have to prepare accordingly. You can change back to regular Mega Man anytime not in battle, and with the style itself, you can either perfect the style you have, giving you programs that will allow you to have that style's advantage without using it, or you can opt to undergo a different style change after a certain amount of fights, aiming to hopefully get something you might like. Personally, I kind of wish you could have more than one style at your disposal, even if it was only one more to pick, but anywho. So you duke it out with the enemy, with enemies varying with a variety of different forms, harkening back to older Mega Man games, and new ones exclusive to the Battle Network series alike. And can I just say, this problem does get fixed later on, but there are some really dickish enemy types and attacks in this game. These guys, the Ratons, freak out when taking damage, making them move at light speed, make them extremely annoying to hit. On top of them shooting little rats that home in on you, and those little rats can also take damage for the main one. It sucks. Or these guys who burrow themselves into a hole and pop out instantly behind Mega Man to do damage. Yes, behind, with no way to turn around to shoot them. So unless you want to take immediate damage trying to go through them just to get a shot off on them, you have to run all the way around just to do so, and usually only getting one shot. Or these guys that have an impenetrable shield that can be broken with some attacks, but respawn super quick anyways, so it doesn't really matter. They then rush to where you are and let out gas all around it that steadily hurts Mega Man. The only good way to hit it is by using chips that can pass the shield, but in the case of the one in the hospital, there's grass laid out all around, letting it refill its health. Ugh, this is crap. Thank you. Regardless, you do get out to the enemy drops, wherein you are timed, given a rank, and a reward. Your rank is based upon how fast you delete the enemy and how much damage you took in the process, rewarding you with either money or battle chips. You can also earn bug frags, which is a special currency to purchase rarer items from different vendors. You get these by finishing off an enemy just as they are about to attack, something that is admittedly easy to do in most cases, allowing you to amass a nice quantity of bug frags throughout a normal playthrough. Keep this counterattack method in mind though, because this gets flipped on its head after this game. And that's basically the bulk of the game. You battle enemies, you complete puzzles and dungeons, interact with different navies, you can check out different news bulletins if you want to flesh out the world more. You can take on side quests by going to the board in Scilab, though I never really did any of those except for the main story-based ones because I couldn't have been bothered, to be honest. However, if you want to fully complete this game, there's a lot you have to do. You have to collect every single battle chip. You have to, including ones that you get by refighting bosses at the secret points all throughout the net. You have to do all the program advances and a whole bunch of other different things in order to 100% complete this game. However, this kind of 100%ing is not really my cup of tea. So I just kind of stuck with playing the game my way, which was still an enjoyable time. So that was Mega Man Battle Network 3. Now, you might be wondering what's so different between blue and white version, and, well, to be honest, it's not much. There's one boss that's different between the two games, and other than that, you can find different battle chips within each version, encouraging you to trade with the other game, just like how Pokemon did it. And that's kind of the reason why they did that, was to capitalize on how Pokemon was marketing their games by splitting them into two different versions. A lot of games around that time were trying to do the same thing, but anyways, starting with 4 and onward though, that's when things start to get pretty interesting gameplay wise. The story, not so much. But anywho, thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you saw, you can click right up here to check out some of my other videos that I've done. Or, if you really feel like it, you can click right up here to subscribe. And until next time, guys, I will see you all later.